bringing the people behind our food to life.
I've been painting since I was 8 years old, so I've always painted, and I've always just painted what I observe and what inspires me.
It's only where the sunlight is hitting it.
The chicken paintings specifically tend to, I think, elicit a lot of joy in people, especially because chickens have become a lot more popular. Tons of people have backyard flocks, more than they would have 10 years ago. So I think they tend to resonate with people when they see them. And I do, because I paint on that red background, my paintings are very high key, so the colors are very vibrant and sort of turned up. I really like to push colors to the outside boundaries of where they would be. So it just seems to work. But I recently did a series of a painting a day for 30 days. You know, you come up with these simple little things that you'll paint each day, and I started thinking I wanted to paint white on white, just to challenge myself to paint white using as much color as possible. It's actually really hard to paint an egg because it's so simple. It's hard to not make it just look like a blob, to like give it form and to make it look like it's sitting in space. So eggs are kind of hard to paint, but interesting nonetheless. The chickens are really fun to paint because they're always doing something different, and they really show a lot of character with just one movement. You're like, oh, that's very chickeny, and it could be 7 different things that it's doing. So, and the paintings that I do of the chickens are really small, and I actually paint them from photographs that I take, which I really enjoy doing. You know, I'll go out in the morning when I do chores, and if I have my iPhone or my camera, I'll just take a bunch of pictures, and then I enjoy editing them down and finding, you know, just the right sort of characters of poses, and then putting them together and sort of simplifying them. So they're easy to paint, and they're fun. When we decided to leave Napa and look for land in Oregon, I really had this vision in my mind that we would live on 10 acres and a double wide, and I was sort of braced for that. I was like, okay, 10 acres and a double wide, this is what our life's going to look like. And we started looking for property on MLS, and I actually saw this place listed, and it was way out of our price range. But I remember seeing it thinking, oh, look at that house, it's so dreamy. So we made an offer, and it actually ended up being kind of a complicated deal to close. It took about 6 months, but we were able to get it done. One of the things about this farm that I think has made Brian and I really happy, and we've enjoyed the process of, is we've grown it really slowly, and we haven't tried to do too much too soon. And I feel like we've been honoring the land in how slowly we've grown things. That we've, you know, like I just started with bees 2 years ago, and how they sort of integrate into the garden. And I just have really refined our composting system with Brian in the last couple of years, where we're able to integrate that into the garden. And I'm finally figuring out how to use my horses, both how to keep them so they don't hurt the land, but also how to use them in concert with the farm. I love having the laying flock. I mean, from the aspect of the farm, they're really important to the life in the pasture. They're really important to maintaining fertility in the soil and working with my other animals. So they're really integral. In fact, we just got our 100 new layers today that we're going to integrate in for next year, and then I'll kill off this flock. And Brian said to me today, it's like, so what are you going to do with all these eggs from 100 chickens? Because we got 65 now, and they're laying a lot. And I was like, that's all right, you know, we'll figure it out. Because the chickens aren't just about the eggs. They're about adding fertility to our pasture, and they're sort of an integral part of our farm. They add more than just the eggs. It's not just about the product they're making, it's about what they're adding in terms of biodiversity to the farm. So I love them from a farming aspect. I love them aesthetically, like when I pick which chickens I'm going to have in the flock, I do it for the different colors of eggs, but also the different colors of birds and their nature. And I feel like we're really building a really well integrated system, and each year we make one more little refinement that just seems to get things better. I went to a permaculture course, and they said for each new species you are able to create a habitat for on your property, it brings 10 species with it, which is just amazing. Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about that. So like each year that we live here, I really take a lot of pride in and just deep pleasure in knowing that we're growing that group of species and that sort of life here on the farm, and that we're constantly, I don't know, it's like teaming, you know, and it teams more each year, which is very, very cool.
Good girl.
It's pretty empowering to be able to create something like this with the help of the animals. I think I'm going to need another colander. There's a lot of eggs.